Oh. Welcome back again, and really delighted to be here today with Neil Mergard from 1770 Larc Tours. Neil and I were just chatting a moment ago about the beautiful town of 1770, which friends of mine recommended to us years ago for a holiday, 'cause it's such a beautiful place. Neil, welcome.
Thank you. Thanks for having us. It's great that you've created this, and yeah, we got the opportunity to give you a chat.
Well, needless to say, you've managed to sneak a picture of your pride and joy in behind you.
Yeah, mate, the mighty bit of gear. You can't let the colour. It's like put you off thinking it's a gimmick, because literally it's a mighty piece of military amphibian.
It's quite incredible, so we're looking at a lark. You just quickly describe what a lark is to me.
Okay, yeah. So in the 60s, Borg Warner developed an amphibian for the military, and it's a lighter amphibious resupply cargo vessel. So a Lark 5 designed to carry 5 ton from ship to shore. And yeah, literally the ones we have, the one pictured behind me is built in January of 1966. So still going strong. I'm actually retrofitting and improving while we've got a bit of downtime to do so.
There's a certain sort of Mad Max-like quality about what you do, I reckon. Big machines in the outback of Australia.
Yeah, it's a man's dream really to have big four-wheel drive to play with, but one that even the dude with the toughest four-wheel drive is not going to be able to follow. He's straight down the ramp or off the creek bank and away.
So you were telling me yesterday, and I want you to explain to people what was life like when you first came across the vehicle. You were describing being with your dad. What was life like back then in 1770, and when did the business idea for this sort of take shape?
Yeah, well, basically, a couple of questions there. Literally, we moved here in 1985. My dad had built a charter boat, started tourism in the town, and literally we were working with the weather and our passengers, and taking bookings on a HF radio. We didn't have to run too many charters, but we were basically keeping ourselves busy and laying around with Dad, reading a magazine, and he's reading a trader boat. I've got my surf mag, and he's like, "Hey, son, check this thing out," and shows me a picture of the machine in the picture. Actually, the Sir Joseph Banks for sale in the trader boat up in Rockhampton. So he's like, "I'm 20," and "You want to have a look at this?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I want to have a look at that. Let's go." And so we did, and unreal. It was painted pink from the outset. The guy selling its car yard was pink, Bart Olsen in Rocky, and that was his theme. And I'm thinking this is an old military bucket of bolts, a heap of junk, and had 240 hours on it from new, still the original oil. So they just cranked it up, done a lap of the shed, parked it,
No way.
and yeah, it became a Larkman.
Well, I want you to describe a little bit about what you do with it, as I'll play a bit of video and a little bit about as well.
Yeah, all right, no worries. Well, you
Yeah,
want me
yeah.
to
Tell
talk
us a
over it
little
and
bit about what
describe
you
what?
do. Yeah.
Yeah, basically, it's a rolling grandstand, the Lark, and obviously, town of 1770 and surrounds Bustard Bay. Yarimbula National Park is just scenic beauty and natural wildlife just doing its thing. So we more or less just showcase what's going on. We don't actually go and put the show on. We just drive around and check it out. And the spectacular things that we've seen over the years with all eagles and dolphins and whales and sharks and you name it, we've encountered it somewhere along the line. Emus on the beach, and all different types of marine wildlife and odd things. Like the other day, I picked up a echidna who was swimming across
No
the
way,
creek.
really.
Yeah, in the middle of the creek on a sandbar. It's like, "Hey, mate, you want to lift?" Yeah, but odd things happen all the time. It's saying that's the attraction of it. So yeah, literally, our workplace is a natural wonderland.
Now we're talking about a little bit about eco accreditation, and eco certification applies across a wide variety of different things, including the sort of cultural and heritage side of things. Now you right back in the day, you were saying you discovered the old lighthouse. Now that by that time was no longer occupied, but you got to know the lighthouse keepers, and that started you on a bit of a journey, didn't it?
Yeah, you could say a bit of a journey. For 19 years, I stood at the bottom of the lighthouse and said, "One day we'll have it open." 19 years I did that for. But yeah, literally, my dad met Stuart Buchanan. He was a lighthouse keeper there in the 70s, and common vision to actually do something with the place. We had access, he had the passion, and between Stuart and Shirley, who was his wife and his late wife, and between my mother and father, Des and Betty, my father's passed away, and myself, we all got together and formed a community group, and basically the Bustard Head Lighthouse Association came of that. The federal government had a heritage grant scheme where we got 120,000. We pitched in 40,000 for the materials to build a road up the face of the headland, and then literally installed it and transported everything there free of charge for the association, and of course saved the Bustard Head Light Station in doing so. And it wasn't a one person effort by any means. It was a collective, and it still is a collective of passionate people. And what we've got at Bustard Head is just a spectacular example of a light station as it was, but better, because we've got all of these artifacts and creations that Stuart Buchanan has installed there as a curator for the museum, and it's just fantastic. And you're looking over the ocean, got this magnificent big cast iron tower, and terrific photographs in Turk. Even went out, stepped it out, and made sure he put the telegraph pole in the right spot in the yard. Like it had to be in the right spot. Everything is done within an inch of as it can be done. Like it's really, really, it's something to be really proud of. It's beautiful.
One of the things that keeps coming up time and time again when I'm interviewing people in this is the community impact that these tourism operations have. I mean, you can very easily visit places in Australia, you can go out and have a tour, but it's actually rare to find a well-established tour company that doesn't have this sort of whirlwind of community activity going on around it. I mean, Larc would have to be sitting in the centre, and quite notably so for that town. Town of 1770 is a very odd name. I might just get you to quickly just describe its historical significance as well for people who may not have heard of it before.
Yeah, that's great. So basically, it's been referred to as the birthplace of Queensland. It's the second landfall of Lieutenant Cook in the Endeavour, and of course he came from Botany Bay, as we know it now, up to here, and pulled into the bay. Spent the evening, came ashore on Wednesday the 24th of May, and literally shot a bustard turkey, and hence why the bay we travel on is Bustard Bay, and set himself up for some water and some local investigations. And Banks and Solander, the botanists or naturalists, have basically gone out, collected 33 plant species, and they generally had a good look around the area, and largely the assessment was that it was not good for agriculture, and they said there was evidence of the Indigenous. So there's amazing stories all surrounding that. And hence the town of 1770. Sorry to cut you off, but hence the town of 1770. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a very unusually named place, and as I say, very, very beautiful. So final question for you, because I know you do have some plans afoot. What's your next adventure? What's the next thing you're doing with the business?
I've got so much on the go, and it's all fun because the beauty of being self-employed is you make your own sort of game, and life is a bit of a game like that. And I'm building a super Larc, so I'm putting a hydraulic drive, retrofitting one into a spare hull that I basically salvaged the parts out of. So I've got that going on. obviously we've got the Lighthouse going on up there, and we continually supply and maintain the road. And I've with the shutdown now, put a tent on the roof of one of my Larcs, not that one in the picture, but the other one. And so I've got a rooftop camper, and I've got all my fishing rods and surfboards, and I'm just gone. You know, I'm having a great time. And yeah, it's paradise. And we call the day tour the Paradise Tour, the one that goes to the Lighthouse. And literally, it is pristine wilderness. It's beautiful. And of late, it's been very, very enjoyable to experience, actually, instead of running in and out on the day tour and sort of busy and life's going on and you got to keep pace with the tours and everything that's going on. It's been, oh, I might just go, I'm going for the weekend and go for 3 days, you know, a couple of nights, and live off the land, literally, eating, you know, mud crabs, oysters and fish.
As,
it's good.
And you were, and one thing I always remember when having the kids up there was obviously entering the sea for the first time. Do you ever tire of doing that?
No, definitely not, mate. It's a cultural thing, I think. Literally, surfers, and I'm an avid surfer. I love it. It's kind of my religion. It's in your DNA. So literally, after you spend so much time in the ocean, it physically alters your DNA. So I think, you know, if you can't get more to the core than that, just, you know, I love Agnes Water and 1770, and our place is just beautiful, and I really enjoy showcasing it to people in, you know, a really extraordinary way.
And I inadvertently asked the wrong question, but that was a beautiful answer. What I was actually referring to was the excitement of actually entering the water in a lark. Do you ever tire of that?
Yeah, look at that. No, mate. That's one of the comments I make onto. I do a splashdown. I still haven't got sick of it. You know, like everyone cheers, and some kids scream, some babies cry. You know, but in general, everyone's having a blast, and it was such a epic sort of thing to do in a really safe way and in a real low impact way. You know, we just go and splash in the water, and then we basically just motor off. And with the Commonwealth Games, when they were on, we took Maxine Bruce, a local lady from Gladstone, took her out, and she was identified as worthy to hold the Commonwealth baton. And we did a big splashdown, and the photo of that, mate, is so cool. You know, it is epic, and it made it on the website for the Commonwealth Games. You know, on the front page. You know, check this out. You know? Yeah, so it is a real fun thing to do, and you know, just climbing out of the water where your front wheels touch and then pull you up onto the sand, and the back drops down, and you know, whoa, and up you go. That in itself is just fun, you know. So you know, literally, even in the raddest weather conditions you can imagine, we can go out and we can even run tours. You know, we stay away from lightning storms, but we are on rubber. But literally everything else, if it's blowing a gale, we can still go and do a tour. And, you know, today's special feature, wild and woolly weather. And off we go, you know. People are all battened down in their jackets. And, you know, once we used to cancel because of these, you know, rad conditions. But it's all part of the adventure now, you know. It is an environmental tour, strictly speaking. And that's part of the environment. And as soon as you take that in your stride, and we've got, you know, our picnic area that's sheltered, we can have a nice cup of tea, warm up at the museum, and all the stuff at the Lighthouse cottages, that where you can get out of the weather, you can still experience the full tour in the different element, you know. So glass out, you know, crystal clear skies are nice too. But, you know, we take what we get.
Well, I think it sounds like you've got one of the best jobs in Australia, and thanks for taking the time to chat. Sorry we don't have any longer, but it's been really enlightening, and obviously would encourage people to visit Larc Tours online. You know, when the borders do open, it's an easy place to drop into and come and meet Neil or one of your staff
I'll be
driving. Jump on Ecotourism Australia's website, have a look at the Green Guide, visit Wildiaries, follow us all the socials and everything else. Neil, thanks again. Lovely to talk to you, and all the best for the future.
Yeah, no worries, mate. Thank you very much. And how many years were we eco certified now? You did tell me. I
Oh,
don't
I'm
even know.
actually not aware. I think you're one of the, aren't you one of the 20-year
Hey,
club?
yeah, we're up there anyway. But we love our environment. It is our workplace, and literally we wouldn't be here without it. So yeah, come and visit us sometime. And yeah, good chatting to
All
you,
right.
Simon.
Take care, mate. Bye.
See